Hello and welcome to another Canaries Chat podcast. My name's Luke and I'm here with my co-host Chris, where we'll be talking all things Norwich. In today's episode, we'll be talking about the friendlies that we've had and upcoming transfers. There's been quite a busy one this week. A few player polls that were put up on our X account, kits, and I think to kick us off, we'll briefly talk about England. Chris, how are you? What you saying about England?
Very well, thank you, mate. Yeah, I think it's made it a little bit easier to take that we weren't the better side on the night. We weren't the better side through the tournament, and that's unfortunately life. The better team won for once, and I can't overly complain with it.
No, I agree. Spain throughout the tournament were just unbelievable. I think I know there's a lot of talk about Southgate's management, which is fair, but Spain, I think, were beating us regardless of our management and team management that day. They're far superior in us, and they had a better game plan, didn't they? And it worked. So fair play to them. Obviously, I'm upset that we lost. It's another final that we've lost. And at the time of recording this morning, Southgate has actually been sacked, or I'll say sacked. He stepped down from his role as England manager. What do you think about that?
I think it's the right choice for him. I wouldn't have necessarily minded if he did stay just because of how quote unquote successful he has been. But I think it was the right time to go. And I think because it being the right time to go for him and England, I think it was a no brainer. I think it was getting a little bit too personal towards kind of the back end of this tournament when, well, say back end of the tournament, but the back end of his managerial reign as England manager, I think it was just getting a little bit too intense. I think it's just time for him to move on. He's gone out on a relative big high, so yeah. And then the short list is up. I've seen it's Pochettino, Potter, now Carsley. Don't actually think Carsley would be the worst. I think you see the football the under 21s play. It's very nice football. But yeah, I think it's just a waiting game now, really.
Yeah, I think with Southgate, he's taken England as far as he possibly can, I believe. I just don't think he he has that next step in him. I think he's just done all that he can possibly can with that team. Fair play to him. He's done very, very well. Two finals, semi-final, quarter-final, a lot better than what England fan would have probably, expected when he came in. And look at our recent record, the last 20 years, we've come nowhere near that. So what he has done as England manager is unbelievable.
Yeah,
But
agree.
like we said, I think it's right for him to move on now and look at the next step in his career. I'll be interested to see what he does after this, and where he could potentially go. You know, I I I think we should stop the England chat there. Otherwise, I'll probably get too emotional. But yeah, defeat to Spain in the final. Very, very unlucky. We go again in 2 years for the World Cup, and whatever that looks like at the time, we'll be here for it.
Exactly.
So we'll kick off with Norwich now. We're only on Tuesday, but what a start of the week that we've had with Norwich City. It's been absolutely crazy. There's a lot to cover off today, like I mentioned at the start. But just before we do, just to kind of summarise, we've had a new kit that's come out. We've had our first friendly game that we've played. A shed load of transfer news that has been going on as well. A lot to cover. But before we do cover that off, we'd like to just give a shout out to the winner of the question last week, which was who was the last player to score for Norwich before the COVID-19 break? And the correct answer was Dermich. He scored in that FA Cup game against Tottenham. What a day out that was for those Norwich fans, by the way. Absolutely crazy. And Paul Woodrow got the correct answer. He listened to the pod on YouTube, commented on there, and got the correct answer. So well done, Paul. And stay tuned to the end of the video where there'll be another question, and you could be within a chance to get a shout out like Paul did today. Right, so friendly Saturday, Northampton. Norwich comfortably beat Northampton 3-0. Rowe scored two and Abu got one as well. Chris, what are your immediate reactions and summary from the Northampton game?
I think it's definitely positive. I found the squad selections interesting. So I know we used obviously a full youth squad in the second half, but I'll just be interested to see if he rotates any of that youth in the second half into that first team that
Mm.
started the first half. Because to me, it looked like that first half was maybe the team he's shaping up to use when we also get the guys coming back from Copa America and bits like that. But I think some standouts are definitely Hills. Thought he looked very good at centre back. The one that everyone was talking about, Fisher, converted into a centre midfielder role. He looked an absolute animal. But I also appreciate Northampton made a lot of changes second half as well. So overall, very happy. We seem to be approaching games completely differently now. And even though we've only had one friendly, it's positive signs already for me.
Yeah, I think for me, although it was Northampton, I know it was our, first friendly, it was just refreshing, if that makes any sense. It was just really nice to see a different style of football being played that wasn't necessarily as negative as what we're used to. And I know, I didn't mind it at times, but it was just unbelievable to see them look forward where they can for passes and not necessarily play it around the back and work the way up the pitch that kind of way. It was always kind of forward thinking. And I know we started with four at the back, but it almost seemed like it was like a CDM drop in as like a three, and then the wing backs push forward, if that makes sense. And it was like a 3-2, like three kind of formation, if that makes sense. It was really strange, and I don't know that it makes me very excited for next season. I know we're only one game in, but like you said, Rowe, very very good game. I know the second one was a back pass, but finished it well. Great header to kick things off that game. What a ball by Stacey as well. Hopefully, we're seeing a lot of that next season as well. Fisher, second half, took the captaincy and absolutely bossed it in that CDM role. Could he do a job there? Potentially. My only worry about Fisher is I just don't know how he'll get in that team.
I don't think he does personally. I think
No.
he would be a very good kind of backup player.
Sub.
I think
Yeah,
he can fill now if Dorup's kind of picture for him is to move him into that kind of more central role. We've seen him at right back, and I've been relatively happy with him playing at right back as well. So we could be opening up ourselves for kind of a bit more fluidity in the squad. And if you can play centre mid and right back, that's a very kind of utility based player that we need to kind of
mm,
make sure we're moving in the right direction. He's young. If he can cover both those, there's less pressure as well to like knee jerk reaction, go and buy someone to fill that gap if we've already got him where he can already play two positions.
definitely. But he looked very, very good that game. Hills at the back, very, very good as well. Looked solid. And I just think overall, Signs had a good game. Kamara looked a little bit upset when he came off in first half. I don't think he played as well as he could have, and I think he knew that himself. But I still think he looked all right. But we'll speak more about Kamara later.
I think
Overall,
Montoya as well. I
yeah,
think Montoya left the like I think that was I wouldn't say a statement performance because again we're playing Northampton first friendly of the season, but that's a performance that Norwich fans have looked at and gone, like he could do a job as like a backup left back, which with the positions that we're currently in, I think that would be very handy for us.
definitely. And I think Thorup as a manager and the style that he's playing and the youth that he's given a chance, it has really got the fans gripped because a lot of the fans that I'm seeing on X and other social media platforms are like very, very excited for these friendly games and want to watch it and see what what the players do and how we play as a team. And I can't really remember recent years fans getting this excited for friendlies before the season actually starts.
No, no, I agree. Apart from when we thought Jordan Hugill was going to be the second coming of Grant Holt a couple of seasons ago, but no, I think it's just I just don't think we've seen the full youth squad go into a friendly game like that, and us look still so in control of things. Like
Mhm.
normally there'd still be some experience on the pitch, or like we would still try and combine it, but you're trusting all the youth, and I think that was kind of them going right. Go on then, like show us what you're made of, see what you can do to kind of push into that squad. So I'm very much kind of on the side of just pure excitement at the moment.
Definitely. They've all now landed in Belgium for their pre-season kind of tour in Belgium. They've got a couple games in there. You know, I think Onel Hernandez done a TikTok today on the little, or a little vlog, as they say, on the little trip they had. Seems that all the players have gone, obviously, other than the ones that aren't back, like Gunn and Sargent and things. Nunez was back there though, which was good to see. Ida's on the plane as well. I know he's been talked about a lot recently. So I'm excited to see, what we do in Belgium against, those that were playing Club Bruges. Is that right?
Yeah, and St. Liège, I believe.
That's it. So naturally, no disrespect to Northampton, but probably tougher opponents there. Just on Club Bruges, Christophe Solis. Does he play in that friendly? Yes or no?
Yeah, I think he does. He probably skills. Let's
Do
be
you
honest.
reckon he
Yeah.
wants to play to prove a point?
Yeah, and you know what? He can do what he wants. Not our player anymore. Not going to worry about it. We need to move on from that whole Jolis discussion. He's no longer our player. Let him crack on.
Right, Chris, my man. So, what a week it has been for transfers in Norwich. We're already at the start of the week and it's been just absolutely crazy at the moment. I don't even know to where to start. So, right, Abu Kamara, he's been linked with Portsmouth. It seems from the reports that they're eyeing up a bid for him. Nothing's set in concrete, and it's also been confirmed that there's been no conversation between the two clubs as of yet. What do you think about that one?
Yeah, I think, as you said, going by the reports, it's very early days. They're looking at their options. Nothing's happened, but I think it's a really tricky one. I think it's very similar to the Barley Mumba situation. Some people are saying that Kamara's season last year was better than Mumba's season the year he came back to us before then going out. I think a lot of the fans are expecting, with the conversations that Napper's had, Thorpe's had, that actually there's no chance of him going, and there should be no chance of him going, and that it would be going against kind of the precedent that we're looking to set to build around the youth, bring youth in to support our current youth system. But I think it's tricky. I just like £5 million. If like someone came in with 5 million, I'm not saying that would be the amount. If someone came in with 5 million for technically an unproven championship player, I think we may move on that. But I think it's time will tell with that one.
Yeah, I think he's such a good prospect, and I think if we do keep him, he'll do really, really well. My only worry is I don't want him to become what Ida did, the last two, 3 seasons, and just kind of a majority of his time be on the bench. I feel like if we do keep him, he does need to be playing majority of the weeks, and with how Thorpe plays. It's looking like he's probably trying to fit him in where he can, but my only worry is that, if we do keep Rowe, and obviously we've got Signs on the left and Sarge up top, Sarah, Nunez, McLean, all potentially still there. I just don't know where he fits in that team.
Think that's what I said in a previous pod. Like his position to me is going to be a substitute to come on to change the games, which is behind Sainz and Rowe, waiting to see if one of them gets injured. Which, like Rowe is injury prone, he may get his opportunity, which he can then kind of pounce upon. But equally, if you're Kamara, it's now, I suppose, weighing up that you've got a new manager in who wants to build around youth, but you may not be the first choice options, or there's the potential you could go back to where you ripped it up the season before. Know you're going to be the first team option, and you're going to be playing in the same league anyway. I think that's also going to have to part to play. And actually, we're saying, well, it's dependent on Norwich, but if the player maybe wants to go, if a lucrative offer comes in which guarantees first team football, it, it may not be our choice at the end of the day.
At the end of the day, whether he wants to go or not, if the right offer doesn't come in, he's not going at all, is he? So, we'll just have to wait and see about that one. But from what I've seen from Canaries, very exciting prospect, up and coming. He obviously wants game time. He wants to prove himself. Did he just last year? What a season he had for Portsmouth. If we can get him in, I think we could be on to a next Norwich superstar. Another one that's been spoken about a lot this week is Adam Eder. So we're all aware that obviously he's heavily linked with Celtic from his loan spell last year that he had with them. It seems that he ideally would like to go back to Celtic. I think that's guaranteed game time for him. Obviously, he had a good loan spell there as well. I think they've already come in with an offer of 4 million, and from what I see, it just seems like it's a bit of a stalemate at the minute on whether they're going to come in for that second bid or not.
Yeah, that's all I've seen is that the first offer was rejected. Waiting to see what's kind of Celtic's next move. I think they'll probably still come back with a second offer, or they're kind of looking at the market as it is to see if there's anyone else out there that may be just as suited. But I think with Adam Eder, if he goes there, I think they know what they're getting. I
Yeah,
think that loan showed what he can do in the Scottish Premier League. So, but I'm enjoying all the little rumours, his little picture on Instagram to send people off and kind
it
of
set us off, didn't it?
yeah, it's just part of the fun, isn't it? Just jumping on something like that. Flight Tracker quickly put that one to bed, saying they're off to Belgium. But yeah, I think it's all. I just love the transfer season. I love the random rumours, like well, we all know it was made up, but Zaha to come to Norwich and shit like that. It's just that's what I enjoy. I like the crazy season.
Yeah, exactly. It's all the fun, isn't it? And it definitely keeps us on our toes, and it's really really exciting. The stuff that could potentially happen, stuff that potentially may fall through. It's all the funny games, isn't it? The next one, well, another outgoing before a potential incoming as well is Kenny McLean. So you talk about the Zaha situation. It seems that there was a not very reliable account that was reporting that Kenny McLean could be going off to Sheffield United for as low as 1.5 million. I think that was quickly debunked at the time. Just, while it has been mentioned, how do you feel about that whole potential scenario?
Wow, I think it was something like Rangers News or something did an article on it. And I know, like as I said, I like jumping on those, just seeing what's happening and kind of seeing how true it is. But to me, 1.5 million doesn't seem just quite enough. But I
How much would you
do
want
think
then?
I'd want probably between 2.5 and 3 because you got to
Yeah.
think his wages coming off the bill will really help us out. But I think it is that Johnny Howson moment now. Thorpe's got an opportunity to get rid of big voices in the changing room, which have held a lot of sway over previous management, to move them on. I think he'd be leaving on a high, obviously, winning player of the season. And he's been an amazing servant for us. You know my opinions on Kenny McLean. He's one of my all-time favourites. So I'd be gutted to see him go, but I think it's potentially the right move for him as well as the club, especially if he can get like a top championship club that may push for promotion.
How many years has he got left for his contract? It's got to be one or two, isn't it? Surely.
Not
So
a
it must
huge.
increase his value slightly. more
Yeah,
than what that 1.5, because you can't 1.5 to 2 you'd understand if he's only got 1 year left because you could theoretically get him on a free next year,
yeah.
but
2026.
so he's got
Is
2 years
Yeah,
basically.
yeah. I'd
Yeah.
like in excess of 2.5, I think.
Do you reckon Norwich see his contract out? That's definitely a possibility, isn't it? See him out for the next 2 years and then he goes on the free, or do you reckon we try and recoup the money in for the 2.5 free that we could potentially get for him and kind of build from there?
I think the position we're in, I think we cash out basically and
Mhm.
get get the money in that we can. I just think it makes logical sense. We've still got a lot of centre midfielders as well. So like we've still got Gibbs, Sorensen, Sarah, Nunes. Not saying they'll all be here by the end.
Yeah,
We've got some youth coming in that can potentially play there. And if Kenny does go, I'd probably expect to see us sign someone as well. So yeah, unfortunately, as I said, he's one of my favourite players we've ever had.
yeah,
But I think it is a good time for both parties maybe to part ways.
lovely job. Yeah, I agree. I absolutely love the bloke. It's difficult because I say I agree. I'd like to keep him. He's such a
Mm.
good footballer. He definitely still got very, very much. He's still got a lot in him, hasn't he? And it's not like he's turned absolute pot. He's got the player of the season last year. He's so good, but is he what Thorpe wants? And is that the direction that Thorpe wants to go in? Potentially not, but we don't know half of it. So, yeah, I don't know, if Sarah could potentially be captain again for our next game. He was captain against Northampton. Will he be it against Bruges? Maybe. I don't know, but it looks like he could potentially be taking the captaincy next season. Does that mean that Hanley then gets dropped? I just think now's a perfect opportunity, like you say, to cash in on those players and trying to recoup the money that we desperately need as a club. If we do get money for Ida, Hanley, and McLean, and potentially even Kamara, you know, that that in itself is you're looking at what 15 million there, roughly 15, 20 million,
Yeah,
roughly.
probably 15 million between them
You
and then
know,
all the wages you say.
exactly. So, that could do us quite a lot, and that could be the difference of us potentially keeping Sarah or Rowe or not. So, it's difficult, but like we say, that's why we love all the rumours, we love the excitement, and I'm very excited to see how Norwich set up next season. So let's talk about the potential transfers in. So from reports, I've seen that Doyle from Manchester City is heavily linked with us on a season-long loan. It's been about 95% confirmed that he is heading to Norwich, and it seems like we've beaten, sorry, a lot of big championship rivals to the potential signing of Doyle. How do you feel about that one?
Very happy about it. I'm not going to lie. I think his Leicester performances were very good last year. I mean, Alex Neil has been kind of said in the past, raving about his football ability. I think because he's a left back and can also play left centre back, it links in with kind of us looking to have versatile young players to kind of create that fluidity across all areas of the pitch. But I'm not going to say I'm an absolute expert in him, but the games that I have seen him play in the Championship, he's looked very kind of self-assured on the ball. He's a big lad as well. Like I think that's something that's starting to creep into Norwich a bit more. Like we seem to be getting a little bit bigger as well, and I think sometimes under like Farker, if we were to lose a game, it was normally because we were bullied off the ball and bits like that. So I'm not going to complain at another big lad that can bolster up our defence as well as being a very good footballer.
So if we just take a quick look at him, he's 6'1". He's only 20 years of age. He's had countless experience in the Championship and League One. So obviously these are all loans from Man City. So he's played for Sunderland, 36 appearances, 41 for Coventry, 17 for Leicester. If I just break that down, so with that Sunderland team, he won promotion to the Championship. With Coventry, he was in that team where they lost in the playoff final on penalties, and obviously last year it was with Leicester, who won the league. So for 20 years old, he's gained so much experience in the Championship, and he's been quite successful, obviously, which has led to countless England call ups for 18, 19, 20, and 21. So I think he's someone that we definitely get behind. I think he's exactly what Norwich need, like you say, in that position. I think you can clearly tell the direction in what we're looking to recruit and, the age of the squad that we're looking to have as well. But overall, he's got to be such a good signing for us, isn't he?
Yeah, I think to have that kind of experience at the age of 20 is a joke. There's not actually many other players that will have that, especially that Norwich would be able to sign. I think as well, it's a good opportunity to use him use us as a springboard for him. So I know he did it with Leicester, but if he can be an integral part of Norwich potentially getting promoted, he's then knocking on that Man City door, basically saying either give me a shot, give me a few minutes in the first team, or like move me along. Like because he's getting 20 now, he's capable of playing regular first team football. Can I see him maybe wanting then a move if he does really well with us? Like it's going to be the lower Premier League clubs that will be sniffing around him. So I think it's a really good signing for both parties. I think Thorpe will play to his strengths, let him show off his key attributes. And with that being said, I think he's going to be a very key player for us, kind of going forward and defensively.
The only thing that makes me really, really sad is I know I'm going to get attached to Doyle, and it's just going to be another skip. I could just see him having an absolute blinder, next season, and I may get too attached to him and never want him to leave. But potentially, if we go up, we could sign him on permanent. That's my dream. I'm already judging a play on someone I don't even know anything about, but you can just see that happening now, can't you? Definitely get too attached to him and he leaves, just like Skip again.
Never fall in love with a lone player, Luke. That's what they say.
Yeah, that's what they say. Yeah, no kind of fresh transfer news other than that at the minute. It's been a little bit kind of dry. We've got Cordoba, a couple months back now, and we're now linked with Doyle. Season. I know there's still a long way to go. Season starts in what, 3 weeks' time, roughly about that. 2 weeks' time, 3 weeks. Are you getting a little bit worried, or how you feeling? Would you like to see more at this point?
I wouldn't say worried because I think we're strengthening where we needed to strengthen. I know we've lost two left backs, but to me, they weren't two extremely high quality left backs. I think they were both performing at a very similar level. And obviously, Napper's decided that level wasn't high enough. So, new left back in, new centre back in is fine. I mean, this may be trying to look at the silver lining too much, but if we were linked with a lot of central attacking midfielders or a lot of right wingers, would that then make you feel like Sarah's out of the door or Rose out of the door? And the fact that we're not, does that mean actually that things behind the scenes are going well and they're not making any kind of sounds that they want to leave?
Yeah, I get that. I think, there's two sides to it, right? So if we don't really, if we aren't linked with anyone, does that then potentially mean that Sarah and Row are staying, which is good news? But if we are then, linked to other players, I mean, they're potentially off, potentially. But I think it's like we keep saying, it's all part of the fun, isn't it? I
Exactly.
remember I remember last season we were linked with a striker, weren't we, right at the end, and ended up being Huang. Or was it Huang? Was it Huang or was it Danny Bart we got right at the end of the transfer window? I
I
think it was
think
Danny Bart.
I think it was Danny Bart, yeah, because I remember seeing the tweet saying you can go to bed now, and everyone being like, "Oh,
Oh, yeah. So
I'm glad I stayed up."
yeah. Either way, I'm sure we'll get it right. I have full trust in Napa and Thurup and what they've won, and the style that they want to kind of play this season. So I guess it'll just have to be a waiting game, and we'll see, won't we? But moving on from transfers, I believe on X we done a player poll on 4 questions. Is that right, Chris?
That is correct. So we had 4 categories. We had player of the season, biggest surprise, rising star, and biggest flop. We'll go
Ooh,
through
okay.
them. We'll go
Yeah,
through them. We'll see if you can guess who was top of each category.
yeah.
We'll start with player of the season. I feel like this is maybe an obvious one.
I presume that is going to be because of last season. Sour if he stays, he wins because he should have won it last year.
Yeah, and any guesses on who would be second?
Second, maybe I don't know. Hmm. I'm I'm gonna hazard a guess because he had a really good end of last season. No, no. Rowe?
Rowe got no vote,
Oh, okay.
which did surprise me. Sarah did get the most. Second was Science, which
Okay, I can
I,
see
I,
that.
I can, yeah, I think either people are hedging their bets that Sarah will go and Science will step up, which I don't think is the craziest thing to think. But he's very much that Emmy Buendia flair, and I think there's just an unpredictability around Science, which
Yeah,
gets people excited, whether that's him just being a bit hot headed and fun into a challenge, whether that's him going past someone and nutmegging them and then just putting it top corner. Like he's got that all in his locker, which I think is
yeah.
really exciting. And I actually think it could be a huge year. And it wouldn't surprise me if he's player of the season, to be
I
fair.
can
It
I can
wouldn't,
see it. Yeah, I
it
can see it.
wouldn't surprise me at all. But we've then got Rising Star. Now, this
Well,
was put up just after the Northampton game, quite possibly. So who do you think was top?
going by that, and since you're saying Northampton, I'm gonna probably go Hills or Fisher.
Yeah, so Fisher came top, and then Hills and Kamara joint second. So I know
That's
we've
fair, isn't it? I mean, Hills, you know, such a good football player. He could potentially start next season. I think we spoke about it before. We probably need to stop speaking about him so much, but he's such a good football player.
but Luke, just have this in your mind, right? Doyle left back, Stacey right back, Hills and Cordova in the middle.
That that sounds very, very naughty. I
That
can't lie.
sounds like a championship winning defence to me.
That does until we
Until we
get
lose
done
3
by
0 to
Pacha.
3-0 to Oxford, and then we all
Yeah.
have to reevaluate, and we'll just slyly edit this bit out so no one ever has to hear this ever again. But
I
no, I
the thing I love about Hills is he's just so like relaxed and controlled on the ball.
yeah, and he's
Like
good on the
especially for
ball
his
as well.
age, yeah, he's just so good and just so calm. Like, I'm not saying that the previous centre backs have ever not done that, but he's just so relaxed and he can play out of his feet as well, which I think Thorpe probably is looking for this
Yeah,
season as well. So, and he's got a bit of pace about him, and this season, if he does get a breakthrough, is his chance to really, really shine. And if he does do well, you can see him going for quite a bit of money, can't you?
yeah. At this for his age, he's just so composed, and I think with a Cordova partnership where he's got that bit of backup because I don't think he's necessarily the fastest centre back we have, but I think Cordoba has got that bit of turn of pace to support him as well. So no, I'm really looking forward to see what he does. But Fisher came out top of Rising Star.
Fair.
Biggest surprise. Once again, I will remind you, Luke, this was just done after the Northampton game. So it,
Define surprise though. What do they mean by that though?
well, I left it very open. To me, it would be someone that we wouldn't be expecting to have a very good season. But in my eyes, I go to more senior or long tenure players, which maybe haven't shined in the past, but may do. Um, it looks like the voters have gone for youth again, which there's nothing
Oh,
wrong with.
okay.
Nothing
No,
wrong
it's
with.
fine. Yeah.
They've got Fisher at top. Um,
What, as big as
Hills,
surprise?
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Hills second, and Gibbs Gibbs is the kind of player I'd be thinking like you've seen what he potentially can do, not given his opportunity, but I think he could surprise us given a run of games in the position he's meant to be playing in. I
Yeah,
think he'll
Hills isn't a surprise. He's good.
no, yeah, exactly that. But
That's interesting though, because my initial reaction or thoughts to that would be like Nunes, because I think we're going to be surprised with how good he's actually going to be this season. Because he didn't really hit the ground running at the start of last season. He probably wasn't playing as much as he'd liked. But that kind of end to the season last year is absolutely phenomenal. And I think if he can keep that up all season now, I think he could be up there with our most important and best
yeah,
players next season.
the thing I like about Nunes is he keeps things ticking over, but I just don't
Yeah,
think like throughout the whole of last year it was recognised the importance of him until
no.
later on in the season. And I think that's sometimes the way like it comes across with managers' tactics, his partners and things like that. I think he worked quite well when he was there with like Kenny, so he could maybe push on a little bit further or arrive in the box a little bit later, rather than worrying solely on like the defensive attributes.
Reminds me of
But
Steeperman under Fark. Very, very underrated.
yeah, exactly. What I would say is some honourable mentions. Fashionette. So
Yeah.
whether
If he plays
whether
in that cam rather than left or right mid, yeah, definitely.
yeah, I think there's a lot of uncertainties with that man on where he gets his minutes, but I suppose that would be the reason for him being a surprise.
Yeah.
Um, Montoya, which potentially he could come through as the kind of backup left back after Doyle. There was a vote for Nunes and our very good friend BDT voted for Sorensen, which
Yeah.
I was a big. I went through a phase of thinking Sorensen's going to be like the player, and I would love that to happen now. Like, just there's just something about him. He is very nonchalant on the way that he plays, but he does have a bit of quality, which I don't think has overly been like shown or people haven't recognised. Like his passing ability is either like 10 out of 10 or like a 3 out of 10. So the consistency is not there. But the fact he's played centre back, left back, and CDM and centre midfield, I think if you give him an opportunity to sit in centre midfield with a very strong partner, I don't know. He could potentially cook.
I just think that the reason the consistency hasn't been there is because he hasn't had that consistency in the games. I think last year he'd done a job like, a couple of games where he's needed where there was like a few knocks or, a suspension. So I don't think he's really been given a proper chance to play in the strongest position. And if he does get that, I think BDT is right. I think, he could surprise a lot of us next season, definitely.
Yeah, because there was a point. I'll be honest. I think he was our best left back for a brief spell. Like and that's taken into account like fully fit other players. Like he was actually performing at a very good level at left back,
Yeah, he did.
but
Yeah.
but a little bit kind of like England. When you have a right-footed player playing left back, it does slow that game down, which obviously under Farker wasn't what he always wanted. But
No,
I'm interested to see how that one folds out. But in
definitely.
regards to biggest flop, I actually slightly disagree here. But so we have Barnes top, and then Cordova and Duffy second.
I,
I think
I'm just gonna get a little rant out here, okay? I
go
feel
for it.
really sorry for Barnes because I personally think he was a player at the start of this season that, he how is he now? 31, 32. I think obviously he came to Norwich to, you know, um, play play 30, 40 minutes kind of a game because I think it's clear that he probably couldn't play full games. And he's clearly probably a player that we want as an impact sub. And, with Sarge getting injured, which isn't ideal, he was playing 90 minutes for two, 3 months, and he was just running himself to the ground. And I know he had to, but I don't think that's why we brought him. I think he was more to come on as like an impact to change that game and to try and win us them results, get the draw, get a goal that we may need with his strength and his kind of roughness and really shake the defenders up. And I don't think he's flopped. I think he's done a good job where he's needed to, and albeit what happened was, we played him 90 minutes, brought him to the ground, and then got injured. And I will say at the last part of last season, when he did actually come on as an impact, he actually did change a few games for us and got us a few draws and wins.
Yeah. So just for perspective, right? 34-year-old Ashley Barnes towards the back end of the season. 90 minutes, 80 minutes, 70, 16, 61, 87, 81, 88, 90, 66, 75, 90, 90, 85, 16, got injured, and then played another 81 in the playoffs.
Nuts.
For,
I don't think that's why.
that's
I don't think
not why we
we
bought him.
got him. No,
Or
and I just feel
not
sorry
bought
for
him,
him
but
because
got him.
he wasn't. I don't think he was a player to start the 90 every single week.
No.
And he had
And
to, and he just, bless him, like we had nothing else, and he had
yeah,
to play. And unfortunately for him as well, he was playing those 90 minutes in that really shit period we had as a team. I'm not saying it was solely on him. That period between like November and the start of the year,
yeah,
we were shocking.
yeah.
And,
And
he was in that was the period that he was playing.
yeah, and he was in effect trying to replace Josh Sargent, who, like, one of his key qualities is how much running he does.
Hmm.
So you can't expect that
No,
from a 34-year-old. Like, I think I just think people got hung up quite a lot of like, yeah, he didn't get the most goals in the world, but like, I think he was played such a duff hand that I don't think there was much more that he could do. Like, I'm not sure what, like, watching the performances, what more could you want from Barnes?
exactly.
Because it was we tried different things. We played him with Ida, we played him on his own. Like, I don't know. I feel like that's a bit harsh to me. But obviously we've got Duffy on two, which can you flop if you don't play?
I don't know. I just think that whole thing just comes from recent events, to be honest, and people have clearly got it in
No.
for him at the moment. I don't think he even done that bad last season. To be fair, I don't think he was awful. I think he'd done a job, and now he's done quite well a lot of the games. To be fair, he had a
The
mistake or two in him, but
him and Kenny McLean partnership was kind of cooking. I'll be honest.
hmm
Like,
he done well.
he needs that calm, composed person next to him, like what Kenny is, to feel more
Hmm.
comfortable playing out the back. He did have a ruck in him. You're right. His passing's maybe not the best, but I think if people are honest anyway, we may sign another centre back. on top of what
Ooh,
we've maybe got.
really?
I wouldn't be surprised if Duffy and Hanley maybe both go, but
I can't see Duffy leaving. Hanley potentially, but Duffy, we only got him last year. It's very rare, you know. I
yeah,
just don't.
but
I don't know who
if
else will come for him.
I don't know, would he be happy potentially not being? I mean, if Hills carries on the way that he is in pre-season, you've probably got to go
Realistically,
forward with Duffy.
let's be honest. I know we talk about Hills. I don't know we rave about him, and you know he is such a good football player. But realistically, do you think he will actually be starting week in, week out? Like I know your, you know, heart. You know,
I think he does.
I don't know.
I think
Really?
he does. I think. I mean, we'll know more when more games get played, obviously in pre-season. But I
I
really
d
would not. I really would not be surprised.
how much youth is too much? Do you know what I mean? So how much youth is too much for there to actually be a risk in? Okay, we actually do need a bit of experience here because, you know, if McLean does leave, that's a very experienced captain's head gone. Again with Hanley, if he leaves, our captain for the last 6 years gone as well. You know, where would the experience be within that team? You
I
can't
mean,
just
we
have a
still.
full team of youth. So we won't win anything with a full team of youth. We need some experience in there. I think Duffy will probably be that fine balance.
I just see Thorpe wanting to move away. Like I know you've kind of just whipped out the old Alan Hunson phrase of "you can't win anything with kids," but like you, we're not replacing everyone. I think people think that Angus Gunn is this youth prospect. Like he's
No.
not. Not he's a multiple Premier League capped goalkeeper. We've got Stacey, a multiple Premier League capped right back, and then yes, that's when we start then looking towards the youth. But there isn't like inexperience in the team. There is a lot of experience. You've got Sarah that's basically been playing every game for the last few years for us, and players like that. And then you've still got others to support. I just, I don't know. I just got this feeling that Napa and Thorpe have in their mind that certain people are going to have to go. And I think both of them, as well as Kenny, have quite a big say in the dressing room. And
Do,
because
but
of
do we
that,
start next season though with two new centre backs that have never, you know, like I just can't see it happening. I, ju- I
it
don't
could
get me
be
wrong.
the mark.
I want Hills to play. I want him to. Like I
I've
love the
just,
bloke.
I've just had a flashback to probably the last time that happened was Marcel Franca and Zimmerman,
Right. Okay.
and that worked really well, didn't it?
Yeah, I just think you need to get the balance in there, and I can't see us starting Hills and Cordoba off the bat together as a pairing. Maybe later on this season, where you know
Yeah.
something may happen. Maybe we then try to, you know, fit him in, or something happens to Duffy or Cordoba potentially, and you know it means he then comes in. So what I see Hills is Andrew Omobamidele. Remember him and Gibson or Hanley at the back? I think Hanley got injured or Gibson got injured. He then got, you know, his call up. He played unbelievably well, which then ultimately got him a first team spot and then a move away to Notts Forest. I just think that's what Hills will be. He's still very young. And I know you need to play him to, you know, to get that experience, but I just can't see us
Would
starting him
who,
with Cordoba
who do
at
you
the back.
think starts with Cordova then? Because for
Duffy.
me, so you think Duffy and Hanley leaves? Because I think Hanley's too injury prone to ever be now like
I think,
considered a first
unfortunately
team
for
player.
Hanley, he's been a great servant. He's been here since what, 2016, 2017. He is still our club captain
Yeah,
officially, but you know, I think the last two, 3 seasons haven't been great for him. Not performance-wise, just you know, injuries-wise, and you know, it seems like he never recovered from that injury a couple seasons back at Blackburn where he done his foot in, and you know, he is getting on a bit now, and I just I just think, like you said, with him, I think we need to go into another direction, and I think that's why we got Duffy last season in. But I can't see us getting Duffy in to then not play him. I think he plays next season. I think it'll be called. I think it'll be Doyle if we get him, Cordoba, Duffy, and then Stacey at the back. That's my. But I'm happy to be proven wrong. But that's just what I think.
No, that's fair. Time will tell, won't it, at the end of the day?
Definitely. But yeah, the the Barnes hate need to stop. And yeah, the Duffy thing must just come from what's been going on. But I think he'll probably be our starting centre back. Will he flop? I don't know. I guess I was come down to. But will he flop to then mean that Hills comes in his place potentially? You never know, do you?
We do not, as I said, we'll let Thorpe make decisions.
We're not the managers.
Yeah, at the end of the day, we're just opinionated fans.
Yeah. All right. Just whilst we're at it, what's your ideal Norwich 11 next season? You can take into account potential transfers or not. It's up to you. How do you think Norwich will potentially start on our first game of the season?
Gunn, Stacey, Hills, Cordova, Doyle. I think it will then be Nunes and McLean for the starting game of the season, and then Rowe, Sarah, Sides, and Sarge.
Yeah, I agree.
I think there's only a
Other than
couple
the
of
centre back.
contentious ones. Yeah, centre
Yeah,
back and centre midfield, depending on
yeah,
if.
defo. I think that front three though is bang on for next season. Rowe, Signs, and Sarge. I think that is a three.
It's a very good three as well, but
It is.
we don't want to bring too much attention to it.
No, exactly that. Anyways, going on from player polls, we done a poll last week on our kit tier list, our home kit tier list, and we had a few disagreements on Norwich's COVID season, winning championship season kit. I personally said it was bottom of S, top of A. Chris, what did you say it was?
I said C.
And the poll came back strongly in the A tier. So it's clear that you guys know your football kits and have a good taste in football kits, unlike Chris, who clearly has an awful taste. Any comments, Chris, on that, my friend?
No, just that I still stand by my decision, but this is how democracy works. I will admit defeat and let it go A tier.
Well, it will go A tier. Factually, it will. So we're right, you're wrong. Have that. Right. Anyways, so looking forward to our potential season next year and how it goes. I think we're all very, very excited, and I think with the recent friendlies coming up and the amount of people online that are speaking about it, it's shaping up to be a very exciting season ahead. Other teams as well are doing very, very good with their business as well and their transfers. So I think overall we're in for a very, very good season. I cannot wait. I cannot wait for the recent friendlies to come up as well. It's going to be so good. As always, follow us on X, follow us on Spotify. We're also on YouTube and TikTok as well. And we also have an Instagram as well. So if you'd like to give that a follow, please do. And if you like our podcast and like what you're hearing, it would be greatly appreciated if you give it 5 hearts, 5 stars on Spotify. It will help us massively. And in the future, we will be looking to do potentially some match day vlogs as well. And obviously, when the season starts, we'll be doing some more in-depth analysis on the games that have just been as well. But for now, Chris, is there anything more from you?
No, I think you covered everything. Just to say, I think this week, or they may have already started, depending on when this pod comes out, we are doing a Norwich City Legends kind of group draw, so you can vote on who you believe Norwich City's biggest legend is. Let's knock out elimination round. So that's going on X, and that's Canaries chat with two T's at the end. If you want to get involved in that.
Who's your number one legend, Chris?
Well, he's not in. He's unfortunately not in the draw that we've made. But David Fox is my favourite ever Norwich player, so I'd go
Is
with him.
he?
Yeah, what a man.
Yeah. Well, fair enough. Are you going to ask me now, or am I going to ask myself?
Oh, who's yours, Lee?
Oh, that's a tough one. Let me think.
David Fox as well.
No, it's got to be Grant Holt. I bloody love the bloke. He was just so good, and he brought the joy back into Norwich City, didn't he? In a very, very tough and dark time that we were facing. Grant Holt was that man to lift everybody up. Back-to-back promotions, done well in the Premier League as well. He's just such a good football player.
I can't argue with that. Cannot argue with that at all.
Yeah, is Grant Holt in the thing?
He is, I believe. I think he's Huckabee in the first round.
Well, if he doesn't win that, then that's silly.
I think
But
it'll be closer than you think, my man.
yeah, it will do. But Holt should edge that, surely.
Well, go onto our Twitter and find out.
Yeah, I will when it's out. And I'll be spamming Holt votes on all my different accounts to make sure he wins. But yeah, thank you all for listening. And what we'll do, like always, is end off with a question. And if you get it right, you'll be in a chance of winning a shout out at the start of next week's pod. But for now, it's bye from me, and I'll leave you with the question. Which player assisted Nathan Redmond in our playoff final win in 2015? Thank you all for listening. I'll see you all next week.